Hi, my name is Carine. I teach for Y Yoga at home. Welcome to your third trimester prenatal yoga practice. For this practice, because of the growing baby, it's a good time to have more restorative, more time to rest. So I have a more gentle type of practice for you. You'll have lots of props. If you don't have any of these props, you can use blankets, anything you have at home that will kind of imitate what I'm setting up here. So let's begin by coming on all four. Now, if your hands bother you, by the way, you can always do some cat-cows instead. I'm going to seated cat-cows. I'm going to come on all four. And you can have your knees wider because of the growing baby, and then begin to come into some spinal undulations. Notice that you are breathing with your movements. And there is no right or wrong way. You just explore what feels natural for you. Childbirth is a very natural process as well, that it's not a technical thing that we need to master. Trust yourself. And then from here, you might do some side bending. Have fun with it. Don't be too rigid in the way that you move. And then we'll slowly come to prepare our setup. We're going to take 2 blocks, just because a little bit more elevated feels good in the end of the pregnancy. And this is a great time to also practice in between labor poses. So in between labor means work. So in between is when you can actually give yourself time to rest. And this is a great way to rest. So what we're going to do is set up and lay on the side. I'm just going to cradle my head. This is the practice right here. Breathing in and relaxing. So very gentle, starting to tune in. Tuning into your own inner wisdom. Tuning into your breaths. And just allowing the belly to gravitate towards the earth. There's all the love handles, the side rib cage, even the facial muscles start to melt downwards. And then we will do a little bit of movement with some core awareness. So first, let's see if we can stack your knees on top of each other. Begin to draw the love handles and the belly in, lifting the rib cage off of the bolster or the floor if you don't have any of these props, so that you're not sagging down or just leaning in anymore. You're actually lifting up as you lean in at the same time. So there's that engagement. You're holding onto your flesh or the skin. You can feel that hugging in. And then you can have your hand on your belly, draw the belly in, and begin to inhale to open and exhale to close your upper thigh. You don't have to go for the biggest movement. Just notice that it's the same speed as you open and the same speed as you close. And for those of us that feels like, oh, this is really easy, you can even extend your leg and then open and close just to hip height. We don't want to shorten this area, so you can even bring your hand on your hip to make sure it's not shortened. Really gluing that bottom ankle onto the floor for this one to give you extra support. And then stacking your knees back on top of each other and rest. So the key is to rest in between the movements. Breathing in and breathing out. Resting, relaxing, feeling that melting quality of the skin. Nice. And then we'll gather them all in again, starting a little bit of movement. This time you're going to draw your top leg back behind you and walk your knee back without letting your butt stick back, right? You want to keep that neutral pelvis, meaning you're drawing the rib cage in and belly in. You're walking your foot back to get a nice release into the front of the hip flexor and the front of the thighs. If it's okay for you, you might be able to hold on to your foot, but not if you have to curl and shorten any part of the body, okay? And then if you have to bind, you'll kick your shin back as you pull your shoulder back and down. And then slowly release and relax. Then here, you can scoot yourself more forward so that if you were to turn back, you're not going to roll off of your props. So coming forward, support your head. You might want to use a block for your head, by the way. It's up to you. Then this time, let's see if you can actually inhale your right hand on your rib and slowly, actually let's scatter the legs so that we have more support, begin to roll towards the ceiling. So finding lots of space here in the ribs. Belly is still rolling towards one side. This way we're not, cutting off any circulation or just being squished. And then slowly come back to center. Okay. Inhale to open and slowly coming back. If this feels like it's a really fun thing to add more with your legs as well, you can inhale, kick your foot forward, and even open your arm and think of yawning your arms and legs apart. And exhale, curl yourself into a fetal position. So obviously you can do this on the floor, but notice my belly is always just letting it hang towards one side. Inhale, you can flex your toe to get into the side of the hips. And exhale. And one more time, inhaling to open. Exhale to rest. You can scoot yourself more to the center again. Resting. How does it feel to rest? To soften. Maybe the eyes are closed. Notice if you have any tension around the temples of the eyes or the jaws. And you definitely can stay here for as long as you'd like, but we are going to come to the other side. So slowly scoot yourself up. Let's take a little side bend here. Always nice to create more space in the side of the rib cage during pregnancy. And back to center. And let's just windshield wipe our legs from side to transition. And then you're going to come and lay down once again. Have your hand behind your head, stack your knees on top of each other. I'll give you the back view this time. So just letting all of this area soften. And then we'll begin the clam shell. So stacking your knees on top of each other, heel in line with your tailbone, inhaling to open, exhale to close. Top hand can come on your hip so you're not going for the highest open and then shortening this waistline. 3. And 2. We'll just do 5 of these movements, very nice and controlled. It's important to build strength in these areas for childbirth. And then you can extend the leg and begin to lift them and close. You can point or flex the toe. Nice and stable. You can feel maybe a little shaky and tired. That's okay. And then bending the knee and resting. The key is to relax, to be able to contract and to be able to relax. And they're both practices. Now we will begin to walk our top leg back. Keep your spine long, lift the belly in, ribs in, right? So you're now coming back to just walk your foot back and getting that stretch into the front of the quads. Once more, you can stay here, or if it feels okay, you'll hold on to your foot. If this is too much at any time, just relax your leg or even your arm. Finding lots of time and length for this really congested area for most of us there, the hip flexors. And come back to stack your knees on top of each other. And in preparation, once more, scoot yourself more forward so that you don't fall off of your props. And as you inhale, top hand comes on your rib cage, begin to open. You won't have a lot of space as you progress, so don't worry, there's no destination. And then close. So you're just finding that you're opening, yawning, maybe arm comes out and then come back to fetal position. Maybe you'll rotate a little bit more, start to stagger your legs and back. And the last 3, maybe you'll extend that top leg in front of you. If you have a chair or a furniture, you can even press into it and just really get a nice feedback into the side of the hips. You can use the wall if you can reach something, just give it a little touch. The environment always gives us a lot of feedback and gifts if we listen. Just like we need to listen in order to find ease during pregnancy. And slowly come back to rest. And taking your time, gently press yourself forward so you can ragdoll yourself up, and coming back to side bend away from the bolster, sliding the shoulders down. And slowly come back. This is now going to be a recline posture. What you can do is actually take this blanket and take it on the outer side or underneath the thighs, depending on what you'd like. Bring your bum right up against the bolster. And if you need more support, of course, you can put more blocks. If this is feeling like too much work today, you can extend your legs long. But we are going to find more space into the back and into the shoulders. So allowing yourself to rest here, wiggle your shoulders apart. Palms can face up. Perhaps close your eyes. Or you can take one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Once again, a great opportunity to connect to your heartbeat and to your baby's heartbeat. You can just relax here, or this is also a great opportunity to practice some pelvic floor toning, some abdominal toning, and also that vocal toning. So you can inhale into the back, onto the bolster, and exhaling completely, sensing that the bones are heavy. If you are toning, you'll inhale. In the end of your inhale, you will contract the pelvic floor, hug the belly in, and begin to exhale and begin to let everything soften. Perhaps you'll add that om sound or whatever vowel or sound makes you feel like you can open this throat area. Inhaling and then contracting in the end of your inhale. Then as you exhale, Om. Continue to practice that as many times as you'd like. Maybe you won't even sound it out, but just how can you practice softening this throat region? That relationship between the pelvis and cranium or throat, especially during childbirth. And to come out of this posture, it's taking your time to perhaps close your legs with your hands. You can heel toe your feet as wide as your mat and just windshield wipe them a little bit from side to side. Gently roll yourself to your left side, pressing yourself up. Because that was a little bit of an opening, we'll just do a supported child's pose. You can take this roll now underneath your ankles, taking this bolster, stack the blocks in front so that you are creating more height so that when the baby gets bigger, you actually have more space, which means the blanket might be a quilt by the end. You might have some cushion underneath you. then you have lots of room to just give yourself permission to drape over and rest. Once again, using blocks between your buttocks can be quite useful. Even here, you can give yourself the opportunity to do these vocal toning, abdominal toning, and pelvic floor toning. And if you happen to have a partner or a friend, you can even allow them to give you a little press downwards if you have any back issues here. It just feels good usually. We will come out of this posture, and I'm going to recommend laying on this side for your final relaxation, because this way you will be giving optimum blood flow to your baby. Laying on the left side, you can cover yourself up, make yourself comfortable. I'm actually quite warm, so go ahead and lay here. Enjoying your time together. So do stay for as long as you'd like. Namaste.